So you're a master of your craft, a brilliant stylist, a skilled technician, you name it. And you've got this dream, right? To build a legacy by opening your very own school. But here's the thing. Bridging that gap from expert to owner isn't about working harder at your craft. It's about mastering a whole new one. Let's break down what that really means. This quote, wow, it really gets to the heart of the matter. It just completely challenges that huge assumption so many aspiring school owners have, that just being great at your job is enough. But as we're about to see, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. And that's the big question, isn't it? If being the best at your trade isn't enough, then what is? Well, that's what we're here to do. Lay out the map that helps you turn that dream into a real, thriving business. Okay, let's start here. Your passion is what got you to this point. Whether you're in cosmetology, barbering, or any other trade, you have the skills, you have the expertise, and you have that fire to share it. That's the powerful engine behind this whole dream. Look, we know you're an expert, and that desire to build a legacy, that's incredible. But it is so crucial to see that passion for what it is. It's the starting line, not the finish line. And this is where the dream meets its first major test. We call it the compliance maze. It's this complex, often totally underestimated world of educational regulations that can and does stop amazing ideas dead in their tracks. You know, you might think getting your approval to operate is the big celebration, the moment you pop the champagne. But the key thing here is that it's just step one. Compliance isn't a box you check. It's a constant 24/7 cycle. It literally never stops. And just look at this gauntlet. We're talking state licensure, accreditation support, program development. Each one of these is its own universe of paperwork, deadlines, and rules. And the craziest part? These agencies often don't talk to each other, creating this maze of confusing, sometimes conflicting requirements. So what happens if you decide to go it alone, to try and figure out this maze by yourself? Well, the stakes are incredibly high. You're looking at costly delays that just bleed your startup money, having to resubmit applications over and over, or the worst-case scenario, a flat-out denial that kills the dream before you even get started. So how do you avoid that nightmare scenario? To get ahead of those risks, you have to get brutally honest with yourself. And it really all comes down to asking 3 critical questions about how ready you really are. This is question number 1, and honestly, it might be the most important, because no one, and I really mean no one, can do this alone. It's all about who you have in your corner. And this slide just hits the nail on the head. The common assumption is, my passion will get me through. But the reality, you need a team of pros who have deep experience in education policy and operations. You need them to build what's called a full cycle operation. Basically, a system that can handle everything from getting students in the door to filing regulatory reports all seamlessly. All right, on to the next tough question. It's not just one set of rules you have to worry about. You're often dealing with multiple layers of government oversight, local, state, federal, and each one has its own checklist and its own agenda. And again, it's that gap between assumption and reality. You'd think, right? I'll just get one license and I'm ready to go. But the reality is way more complicated. You might need approval from the state education board, the local zoning commission, and a bunch of other agencies before you can even think about enrolling a single student. And that leads us to the third point, and this one is the most critical. If you've gone through this and realized, wow, I don't have the capacity to manage a specialized team and a mountain of regulations, then the single best piece of advice is this. Don't try to do it all yourself. Just stop. But wait, hold on. That don't isn't about quitting on your dream. Not at all. Think of it as a strategic pause. It's about recognizing that a dream built on a shaky foundation is just doomed to fail. This is about building it the right way, on solid ground from the very beginning. So if you can't and shouldn't do it alone, what's the solution? This is the turning point in the story. It's about finding an expert guide, someone who already knows the path through that compliance maze. This question really reframes the whole thing. Sure, you could try to do it all by yourself, but when you add up the real costs, the risk of delays, the costly mistakes, the chance of denial, can you really afford not to get expert help? It's not an expense. It's a strategic investment in your own success. And with a guide, suddenly that tangled, confusing maze transforms into a clear, manageable path, just like you see here. They help you figure out the exact regulations that apply to you, build operations that are meant to last, create programs that meet all the standards, and keep you prepared for the future with renewals and accreditation.
So, what do these experts actually bring to the table? Well, for starters, we're talking about people who have literally worked inside the regulatory agencies. They've been on the other side. They offer services that scale to what you need. They help you build that solid foundation we keep talking about, and they provide ongoing support because guess what? The rules are always changing.
So let's bring this all home. This whole process, all this careful planning and strategic thinking, it's really all about one thing: building for long-term sustainable success. That's it. It all boils down to this single goal, not just getting your doors open, but being set up to succeed for years and years to come. Everything else is just noise. And what does that success actually look like? This is the ultimate payoff. We're talking about increasing your student enrollments, making sure you can get critical state and federal funding, and ultimately creating that thriving, sustainable, and respected school you first dreamed about. Look, your passion is absolutely essential. It's the powerful engine that's going to drive this whole thing forward. But an engine without a map, it just spins its wheels and goes nowhere. So the real question you need to leave with today is this: who is drawing your map?